Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Get to work with my wife every day. I think that is pretty darn awesome.
That's nice.
And
good for you.
Today,
Your wife's pretty amazing.
You are pretty amazing. Even though you like to play in dinosaur costumes, which maybe we'll talk about later. What a bizarre thing that was. We have Dear John letters coming up later in the program, so I'm excited to chat about that. And I've got a quote. Alexander the Great said, "There's nothing impossible to him who will try." I agree. So many people fail, not because they fail, but because they fail to try. So I like that. Alexander the Great says it. There's nothing impossible to him who will try. Yesterday, by the way, I came home and my wife and my daughter were in our front yard in dinosaur costumes, racing up and down the dino relays. What was that all about? Just something to do, apparently?
We're just bored.
Our daughter is 16, and she bought some inflatable dinosaur costumes online, and I can only imagine what's going to happen now. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday, April the 26th. There's a lot of stuff on here. National Desertion Day, National South Dakota Day. It's the day that my home state was founded. When
was it lasted?
Yeah, that's my stupid joke. We don't know when it was lasted. You can use that if you want to. And then people will roll their eyes at you. It's National Audubon Day, National Help a Horse Day. Help a horse do what? I just don't know. But Help a Horse Day.
I don't know. Not help him vomit.
Yeah, that was a fun fact yesterday. Horses cannot vomit. National Kids and Pets Day, National Pretzel Day, National Richter Scale Day, National Take Our Sons and Daughters to Work Day, and then also National Poem in Your Pocket Day. So if you happen to have a poem in your pocket today, you are on the cutting edge. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. But first, weird story here. A Canadian drug mule was sentenced for attempting to smuggle cocaine worth $16 million into Sydney, Australia, in luggage aboard a luxury cruise ship. So I'm guessing it's not a real animal mule. A drug mule meaning a person who just transports drugs. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, when I first read this, a Canadian drug mule, I was thinking, hee-haw. And I was thinking, wow, they let mules on luxury cruise ships these days. I was clearly wrong. I do have a link to that story if you need to know more. It's in our show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com. That's also where you'll find today's Dear John letter if you want to chime in and, get a sneak preview. Again, at the show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police charged a Massachusetts man with his 6th drunk driving offense last Thursday. He allegedly drove onto a lawn in Deerfield. The incident began in Greenfield, and dispatch was contacted regarding a Ford pickup truck that drove onto the lawn around a home there. The suspect was pulled over by city police. The officer then found that the man did not have a license. He asked if he could give his keys to his wife, who was sitting in the back seat.
Oh, my gosh.
Quote, so we can all move on from this. Police determined 52-year-old David Brown was driving under a revoked license for habitual traffic offenses while under the influence of alcohol. This was his 6th offense. He was arrested and taken to the Franklin County House of Corrections. And again, this all happened last Thursday. So it's kind of crazy how, this guy's 6th one. There are some that have more than that.
How is he not in prison?
I just don't do that. It's dangerous to you as well. And if you have an issue with this, if you have an issue where you can't stop, there are people out there that want to help you. And there are people in your life who love you that really wish that you would stop and wish that you would get the help you need. And I just think it's really sad that the 6th one, this guy is now national news from some knuckleheaded decision he made. Here's the wonderful, beautiful thing, Mr. Brown. At least the story is just you getting pulled over. It's not the story of you rolling your vehicle and killing your wife who was in the back seat. Mm-hmm. How awful would you feel?
Well, why
or
was his
killing
wife
other
letting
people.
him drive?
I don't know. It's just a sad story. And again, I've got a link to this in our show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. We were going to talk about this yesterday, and we didn't have room for it, so I'm going to squeeze these in, and we have to get through them today. So Bill Cosby's defense team says he couldn't have raped all those women because he doesn't even like sex.
Oh, yeah.
That's my defense? Just ask my 5 children.
Right. I didn't like it at all.
That's not a good defense, Bill.
I refused to do
And
it.
yesterday, when I was looking, like I said, I had this story. I've got stuff stacked up I'm going to try to get through.
Unless he's going to try and charge his wife with rape
Yeah, I don't know.
accusations,
Well,
I don't think he's
have
going
you
to get
seen the
very
video
far with
of
that
him
defense.
leaving the courtroom? He goes, hey, hey, hey. Seriously, he did that, shouted that to a crowd. I'm like, dude, even if you're innocent, if you're guilty, no matter what, that's just a bad idea in a case like that. Don't do that. I used to just love Bill Cosby. I'm like, Bill, come on. And then Katie Couric cleared up her debacle with Yahoo after leaving the company 9 months ago. She said, I wouldn't say it was an unhappy marriage, but it certainly was not fulfilling for me. She's talking about her job with Yahoo. So there you go. Those stories and much, much more. I'm going to actually throw some extra things in because I'm never going to get around to these. So I'm going to just put extra stuff in our show notes blog today at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
John and Heidi.
Time now for the scoop of the day, brought to you by 49bydesign.com. A report says Amazon is working on a secret project to create a home robot. Do you remember the Jetsons?
Yeah.
Rosie, the robot?
Yeah.
We might all have one of these someday. According to this, Amazon is working on that right now. So they already have Alexa. Oh, sorry, if you're listening to one of those. Hello, Alexa. Just keep listening to the John and Heidi Show. But for people who have one of those, imagine if you could tell, I'm not going to say her name again because that's really annoying to people who have one, but if you could tell that device to go do something for you as well, like, hey, clean the living room.
Yeah, as if the world is not lazy enough already.
I'm just saying it would be really handy.
We will not be getting one, just so you know that. Just like we will not ever be getting one of those
things
home
with that certain
spy
name.
units.
What was it called? Wiretap. Can you do it? That's what.
Do you have a recipe for pancakes?
Yeah, that was on YouTube. Heidi found a video of that. Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports are now going to start offering travelers unlimited free Wi-Fi. That is a good idea. And by the way, that's been available at other places for a long time. But you would go to an airport and they have you held hostage there, and they would charge you like $10 to get online because they know we're addicted. So now at Chicago O'Hare and Chicago Midway airports, you're going to be able to do it for free. So I can almost imagine how many more complaints you're going to have online there. Stuck in O'Hare. At least I got free Wi-Fi. The owners of a St. Bernard dog in England thought that their beloved pet had cancer. They took the dog in for surgery, and veterinarians didn't find cancer. What they found was 4 half-eaten teddy bears inside this dog.
Oh, my gosh.
So the mystery of the missing teddy bears is also solved.
Oh.
I've got a link on our show notes if you want to see more about that. Instagram rolled out a data tool similar to Facebook's Download Your Info, which I've never heard of either, but it's a version on Instagram you'll find under privacy settings. Listen to this, Heidi. It lets you export their photos, videos, archive stories, profile info, and comments. Why do we need this? I don't understand why you want that. And hopefully this is just on your own account. There are already people out there taking photos and then setting up fake accounts using other people's info. Don't make it any easier for them. And I think we have room. Yeah, we got room for at least one more. With their motorcade getting stuck in traffic on their way to a wedding, a couple in China realized they wouldn't make their noon ceremony start time. Instead of missing it, the wedding party decided to marry the couple in the middle of the expressway. Instead of ushers and wedding guests, the impromptu ceremony was attended by a crowd of other people who hopped out of their cars and SUVs and semi-trucks and stood on the side of the road. Well, this couple said, we were getting married at noon. We're doing it right here. Meanwhile, there's probably a lot of people sitting in a church going, I wonder where they are. Can you imagine that?
That's cool.
That is kind of cool. What would you do if you were sitting on the side of the road and you saw people get out and just start getting married? Would you get out and cheer for them?
Of course.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
As long as traffic's not moving.
It's kind of like what our wedding was like. It was surrounded by strangers with plates of French fries.
Yeah, that is true. We were going to get married in a beautiful, lush garden. No, we ended up getting married. We were going to get married on the beach.
Yeah, we were going to get married on the beach.
We were going to get married on the beach. We got married in Jamaica. We were going to get married on the beach, but it was too windy. So we got married in this beautiful, lush garden. And there were people wearing Speedos. Much like myself, I shouldn't wear a Speedo, nor should the gentleman that I have engraved in my brain right now.
With a plate full of French fries, watch us get married.
We're like, is this as special as you expected it, Heidi? Is this the romantic wedding I promised you?
It's perfectly fitting for us.
For us,
actually.
yes, absolutely. 18 years ago, and we're still together. And one last thing. Hey, before you apply for a job, maybe you want to Google yourself, and you maybe want to check out your social media posts, for things that maybe you shouldn't have on there. More than 1 in 3 employers say they will automatically disqualify a candidate because of something they find online. And you won't even get the interview, and you won't even know why. And we have a story that we could share about that, but we won't because you wouldn't believe it anyway. This has been your Scoop of the Day, courtesy of 49bydesign.com. Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
And it's time right now for Dear John Letters.
Dear John.
And we've got a Dear John letter for you today. And they mentioned last week's Dear John letter. Do you remember what last week's was?
No.
Okay, well, here's our Dear John letter for today, and we'll have to see if it maybe jogs our memory. It says, Dear John, your letter last week hit pretty close to home. I've also been keeping something from my wife. Oh, yeah, that was the one where he hadn't told his wife about something and then didn't want her to meet her brother's, his brother's
girlfriend.
Yeah, so okay,
I
there
do
we go.
remember this.
So with that in mind, and if you missed it, we have a link to last week's Dear John letter at johnandheidishow.com. It's in the show notes for last Thursday. So here we go, back from the beginning. Dear John, your letter last week hit pretty close to home. I have also been keeping something from my wife. I didn't cheat like that guy did, but I have not been 100% honest with her. When we first met, I decided not to tell her about my past. I was a drug addict, and I had a pretty hard life. I've been clean and sober for over a decade. I moved here and got away from my former life. I just have not told her. Oh, let me see. I just have not told her who I used to be because I'm afraid of what she will think of me. About a month ago, a friend from my past reached out to let me know he was going to be in the area and wanted to get together. I avoided him because I was afraid that somehow my secret would be revealed. What should I do? How do I tell my wife now that we've been married for 2 years? Signed, hubby with a past. Here's how you tell her. Just tell her. That could be end of advice right there. But you need to be honest with her. You guys are married. Now, have you not seen every 80s and 90s movie ever made?
Yeah, it's going to come out.
Somehow, somewhere, something is going to happen, and then she's going to be mad at you because you didn't tell her. You lied to me. And I know what you're saying is, well, I didn't lie. I didn't tell her it didn't happen, but it's a lie by omission. Mm-hmm. You should have been honest with her in the beginning. And I understand in the beginning you're going, well, I didn't want to tell her that I used to do all this terrible stuff because we might not have gotten married.
That doesn't work. That whole, I didn't lie. No, because you've tried that with me before, too. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. It's the same thing.
You didn't tell me some really important
stuff. But
no, it's a bad idea.
You need to tell her.
So,
absolutely, you need to tell her. And when your friend is in town, continue to avoid that friend. Because if that friend encouraged the lifestyle that you got away from, you don't want to reintroduce that into your life anyway. So just stay away from that person.
And here's what you need to do. If that friend reaches out again, just say, I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. I just don't know what we would even talk about. I'm a completely different person who I used to be. The person that you know doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
I have a dear friend that I know him through our church, and he's a great guy. And in his past, he had done some things that he and I've talked about. I'm not going to talk about who he is or any of the details on the radio, but I was with him at dinner, or lunch, I should say, about a week ago, and there was a person from his past, and he said it was so awkward for him to have the conversation with her. He's like, I used to see her all the time at bars, and that's not who he is at all. He doesn't drink at all anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's just weird that's how she knows me. That's what she knows me as. And I know him as a godly, wonderful, great Christian man. And I understand that, we're people. We're going to make mistakes. She's going to understand, hopefully, if you guys are married.
Well, yeah, and if you've been a good, responsible, loyal husband, your past isn't going to matter anyway.
And it shouldn't surprise her that you've changed since, 10 years ago.
Right.
Because we all change. But what you have to do is you absolutely, positively have to be honest with her and let her know that this is part of your past. And I would just say I don't want this to cause a problem because this isn't who I am anymore. But I just want to make sure I let you know who I used to be, and I think that she'll understand. These
letters are getting entirely too serious.
Well, I know. Come on, anybody got some really funny stuff you could send? Something lighthearted, maybe something that Heidi could kind of poke fun at. Do you have any advice that we haven't already talked about?
Nope.
Okay. If you happen to have a Dear John letter that you would like to submit for the radio program for next week, we would love to take your Dear John letter. There's a couple ways you can submit those now. One is through our Facebook page. We still have that, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. We don't do as much on there because they were limiting how many people would see it. And I just think it's really weird. So we set up the show notes blog, and you can read the Dear John letter there as well, even if you don't have a Facebook page. And that's at johnandheidishow.com. So you could submit the letter either way. And if you send us a letter, we will respond no matter what. We will keep it 100% anonymous, so we're never going to tell anybody who it is. And if it's something that we can't talk about on the air, we're still going to reach out to you. But we'll even let you know that we're not going to talk about this one on the air, but we'll certainly answer. We'll do everything we possibly can to help. Again, you can submit your Dear John letter, and hopefully we'll answer yours next week. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A crocodile cannot stick out its tongue. Did you know this? I think we talked about that.
we talked about that one.
I wonder if an alligator can, though, because they're two different creatures, Heidi. You know how you can tell?
I really don't know.
You know how you can tell a crocodile from alligator?
How?
It's a really simple way. An alligator will see you later. A crocodile will see you in a while. So, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
She rolled her eyes, and I think you could hear them on the radio. One other fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Butterflies taste with their feet. So,
I thought you were going to say
what they taste
like chicken.
No, they don't. Coincidentally, butterflies taste like chicken. No, they don't. I have no idea. I've never eaten a butterfly. I wouldn't think there'd be a lot of butterfly meat, really, if that's a thing. Butterfly. I have to look up. I don't think I want to look up butterfly meat. There's a lot of things I don't want to look up because, there's weird names for all kinds of stuff. A couple of fun facts right there, courtesy of LearnWithoutLoans.com.
John and Heidi.
If If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for your grandiloquent word of the day. I've actually heard this before. Curmugger. Curmugger. Cuggermugger. Oh, it's cugmugger.
I was going to say, that's not a curmugger.
Cugmugger. No, cuggermugger. Cuggermugger. Wow, I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I haven't heard this. Cuggermugger. What do you think a cuggermugger is, Heidi?
I don't know.
Cuggermugger is whispered gossip. Oh, did you know what she did? Oh, you never say it out loud because you don't want to get caught. But it is a etymology uncertain. They don't know where it came from. The etymology. Here's it used in a sentence. You don't now don't you believe a single word of that load of cuggermugger. So, cuggermugger. It's our grandiloquent word. Reminds me of a joke from our friend Brian Regan, who talked about the little whisper device they had.
I love Brian.
And he said during the commercial they had this lady that was listening on the whispering device, and it was like some compliment. He goes, "Yeah, that's what whispers were invented for.
That's
compliments."
What she said.
Yeah, we always want to whisper those compliments. Cuggermugger, your grandiloquent word today.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, some weird news for you. On a Thursday, a high-speed chase across 2 Florida counties ended late Tuesday when a Pasco sheriff's dog tracked down a Land O'Lakes man wanted for assaulting a Hernando sheriff deputy as he tried to hide by submerging himself in a swamp. A lot going on in that sentence.
Land O'Lakes, man, I didn't even realize that was really a place. I thought it was just butter.
No. Well, it's that too. The arrest of 34-year-old Paul Daniel Smith was caught on a body cam footage. Shows just his head sticking out of the muddy, swampy water. Knox, the sheriff dog, led deputies right to Smith. Knox kept licking Smith's face as he argued with deputies. That sounds like a nice dog. Smith was arrested on charges of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, fleeing to elude, and a violation of probation. He's also wanted on several felony charges in a different county. So there you go. I've got a link to this story, and I've got a completely separate post. It's just a bunch of extra stuff I haven't had time to get on the show. I'm cleaning house, Heidi. Mm-hmm. Because I have stories that are like 3 weeks old. I'm just not going to get to them. I'm not going to put them on the show, but they're too good to just delete. So on the show notes blog, you're going to see a separate little heading there saying stuff we didn't have time for on the show. And there's some of it that's kind of stuff I wouldn't talk about on the show. So I'm like, ooh, that's not going to go on a family program. I do have a link to our show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com. Time now for your moment of duh, courtesy of LearnWithoutLoans.com. A man by the name of Patrick Hutchinson stumbled into a Florida convenience store and asked for 2 packs of cigarettes. Then he put on a medical mask and says, "Does it look like I'm going to commit an armed robbery?" This happened shortly after midnight on a Wednesday. A patron pumping gas at the Florida station there was approached by a suspicious-looking man. Manager inside the convenience store called 911 and told the dispatcher the customer looked visibly uncomfortable. Hutchinson stumbled into the convenience store, acted erratically. The manager inside the store said that he was not making sense with his statements. When deputies arrived, he continued his bizarre manner. Deputies eventually found a clear plastic bag containing pills like, I don't know, the oxycodone is the only one I understand. The others are just big, long words that I've never heard of. He was charged with disorderly conduct and introduction of certain particles unlawfully. So that's what that's called.
Well, there you go.
So don't do that. That's a bad idea. And if you do, you might just end up in our moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
it's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough, available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
John and Heidi.
Time now for Fake News or Florida. You ready for this, Heidi?
I am. I like this break.
I know you do. And I've got other people that are saying, why Florida? Why not fake news or, some other state?
Because that's not where it comes from.
I know. And it's not. I don't make this stuff up. I just read it. But here we go. Fake news or Florida. A Florida man was injured his back while hanging a TV that he bought with a stolen credit card. Fake news or Florida?
Fake news.
No, this is a true story.
See,
56-year-old.
It didn't sound funny enough. I really wasn't expecting it to be true. That
That could have happened to
could
anybody.
happen to anybody.
Well, he hurt himself. He told detectives that he was hanging the TV, and that was probably how he blew out his discs. So it was a TV that he bought, $1,823 worth of items using a stolen
That's
credit
instant
card.
karma right there.
Yeah, pretty much. He got himself in a little bit of trouble. So I've got a link to that in our show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com. Good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. The good news comes your way courtesy of Odiva. It's a monthly subscription service just for the lady folk. So if you like all the details on that, you can find it at radiosavings.com. Here's the headline. You might have sent this to me. It says, flight attendant escorts passenger out of her seat when woman behind sees why she has to speak up. Did you send this to me?
Yes, I did. A long time ago.
Yeah, again, I'm trying to get cleaned up with all this stuff. Thank you, by the way, to all the people that send me cool stories. Because of that, I have a backlog, which is awesome. But then I'll have a story that somebody sends me, and then I'll read it, and then I'll have another listener say, well, I heard this a week ago. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't have time to get things on instantly. So I'm going to just go through and clean house using our show notes blog. There's be links to a lot of funny stuff that never made it on the show, just so I can try to kind of get caught up here. But we've heard of all kinds of horror stories with the airlines lately, but a woman's story is proof there are still plenty of good people up in the sky as well. This happened on March the 6th, so it wasn't that long ago that you sent me. Just a month and a half ago, or 2 months, whatever it was. This happened in coach on a flight. During the flight, an elderly woman was a row ahead of her here. This lady saw her. She watched the flight attendant approach her. A man took the elderly woman by the hand and escorted her out of her seat and brought her up to first class. The woman suffers with Parkinson's disease, and the attendant apparently noticed her symptoms. Without a second thought, he offered her a seat upgrade. Everyone who's ever flown coach knows it can get kind of, cozy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it says here that this flight leader, Jeffrey Jones, was more than happy to help get this lady to a place where she would be more comfortable. I think it's really cool. Says, I sat in my seat. I literally had tears in my eyes watching somebody do something so kind for someone else. And I've got a link to the story. It's just a great story. And there's photos of Mr. Radcliffe in here, the gentleman who, I'm sorry, it wasn't Radcliffe. That's the other lady. Who is the guy's name? I said it here a second ago. Oh, Jeffrey Jones. So there's a photo of Mr. Jones. He looks like a very nice guy.
He does.
I just think this is a great story. There are good things that happen in the air as well. I guess this is
of course.
probably on the runway, but there are good things that happen in airlines too. So I'm glad there was a positive story. If you come across something that's just awesome good news, I would love it if you'd share it with us. You can share it through our website, johnandheidishow.com. We're still on Facebook as well. We just quit saying it as much as we did before, but we try to share things over there too. Either way, if you reach out to us, we'll try to get it on the show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
Time now for the bonus break on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest joining us right now. We have on the phone line with us here, we have Amanda Johnson. She's the author of Becoming Enough, and she's also got a new project she's working on. Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, John, for having me.
Well, we're super excited to have you on the program. I know your book, Becoming Enough, has been helping people all over the place, which is really cool. There are a lot of folks that are reading this, and it's kind of giving them a little more confidence and helping them through some things that they're going through. Let's talk a little bit about your new project, though, the project that you're working on, and you've got an opportunity for people to help fund the next project, which is kind of cool. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Yes, so I am working on the second book now in the Becoming series. So Becoming Enough is the first of three. And the second book that I'm working on now is going to be called Becoming You. And it is going to take the reader on a deeper level, if you will. So Becoming Enough sets the stage through sharing my own story, the heroine's journey, if you will, to the already perfect self. And I shared it through my first-person narrative. With Becoming You, the second book, I'm actually, I like to, some friend of mine once told me, she goes, wow, I feel like you always like to do things the hard way. And I chuckled because I said, why do you say that? She goes, well, I feel like you wrote your first book, you got that under your belt, now you're going to take on the second book project, but you're going to write it from a fictional perspective. So I said, yes, I am. I don't like anything to be overly easy. So I'm taking the second book, which will continue the becoming theme, this idea of becoming more and more who we truly are by releasing and removing the layers that keep us from that. And in the second book, I'm also going to do it in a more fictional approach, still using my stories, still using my experiences and the wisdom that I've gained along the way, but doing it through a more of a characterized parable, if you will. So I'm really excited about that.
I think that's really neat, and I love the fact that it's going to be a little different. And the other thing that's nice about doing it in a fiction way is you can, you're not bound to it has to be based in reality. So you can kind of share stories the way that you want to share the story to get the point across. It doesn't have to be based on this is exactly how it happened.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was once I actually realized from a writing perspective that there is more freedom in the fictional approach, and also there can be more impact for the reader. And I've been guided to many podcasts and articles and conversations with people to really reinforce that idea for me that, of course, I've read self-help books and non-fictional books my entire life, and I've gained a lot of wisdom and a lot of information from them. And there's really something to be said about diving into a story that, because it's a character, or you get the impression that it's somebody else, you can put yourself in their shoes. You can read a novel or a fictional piece of work and really become engrossed in it, or see yourself in that character sometimes more easily than we can when we're reading a first-person narrative or when we're reading a nonfiction. So at least I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and give a go at it, and I believe with the intention that it will be more impactful for the reader.
Now, the exciting thing for the reader, for each and every one of us listening right now, there's an opportunity for us to help be a part of this project. Let's talk a little bit about that opportunity.
Absolutely. So, yes, it is unfortunately not free to write a book and bring it into this world. I wish it were, but I've done it once, and the first time I did it, I reached out to the community. I reached out to my supporters, my family, my friends, my loved ones, those who have had an impact to drum up some support. And I successfully raised enough money to bring my first book into the world. And I'm doing that same thing again. I realized, what? Why not go about it the same way? It seemed to work the first time. Let's do it again. This time I have a really big goal. I have a big goal because not only are there all of the costs involved to write the book, edit the book, design the book, get the logo for the book, get all of the the artwork, and everything else that goes into it, down to like buying the ISBN and setting it up on the distribution channels, et cetera, et cetera. All of that takes money. I'm also working with a publicist. So I have a publicist who is going to be also helping me bring this book into the world in a much larger way so I can reach more people, have a bigger impact than I did with the first book. So yes, with all of that, there is a cost involved, and I am raising money through a Kickstarter project that every single one of you can come out and support. I realize that it's going to take a lot of us giving a little or a few of you giving a lot. It doesn't matter to me, but it is going to require every person whose life I touch in some way. And if that means that I've had a conversation with you, or you're listening to this for the first time and you're thinking, holy cow, she sounds amazing, I need to learn more, and there's something about my message or about the books that I write that touch you and impact you, I ask that you turn around and pledge your support so that we can see this message get out into the world and make a bigger impact for people who need it. And I've been really encouraged lately by messages out of the blue by people, some that I know and some that I don't, how much the first book has impacted their lives, and it was exactly what they needed at the exact right time. And I trust that the second book will have the same impact, and it will only have that if I can raise this money and get it out into the world.
Now, if somebody would like to help with that, they can go directly to Kickstarter, but how do they find that? Do you have a link on your website, or where can they go to find everything?
Absolutely. You can go to my website, and I actually have then a direct URL that will take you straight to the Kickstarter page. So my website is amandajohnson.tv, and then if you go there, you can find it, or if you go amandajohnson.tv/Kickstarter, you'll go directly to my project page.
That's awesome. And we're going to make it even easier. We're going to throw a link on the John and Heidi Show page to make that really easy to find. And then we'll also push that out through our social media. They've been really kind of not so nice with us lately. If I put links to other people, they've not shared that with many people. So you're going to find it at johnandheidishow.com. We're going to have it there, but we will push it out through social media as well. But if you don't see it there, for whatever reason, lately when I've been sharing things, they're not letting many people see it. So I don't know. Facebook must be mad at me for something. But
You know, I understand. And I just want to say one more thing, that anyone who pledges their support, you're going to get something in return as well. So this is a great way, in my opinion, to go ahead and pre-order a copy of the book. If something about what I've said spoke to you, then go ahead and get out there and get a copy. You can get your copy of the current book that I have, as well as the new book that's coming out.
Well, we're going to do what we can to help, and I'm absolutely a fan of what you're doing, making a big difference in a lot of lives, and I think that's fantastic. So thank you very much for doing what you're doing, and also thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Oh, you bet. Thank you for all that you guys are doing out there as well. Really appreciate it.
Again, Amanda Johnson, her book that she has out now is called Becoming Enough. That's available right now, so if you're saying, hey, I want to read this first book first, go read that, and then you're absolutely going to make a contribution, because you're going to want to help with Becoming You. That's the new project that's in the works. And if you would like to contribute and help make that come to fruition sooner rather than later, you can find a link at johnandheidishow.com. And again, that can help with the Kickstarter campaign. It's all happening right now, so don't wait. You can find it online again at johnandheidishow.com.